Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Lea Woodford, and we're going to talk about your business, up-leveling, all that good stuff that your inner being needs to hear right now, today. I think this is going to be a great conversation. Welcome to the show, Lea.
Oh, Alicia, thanks so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
I know you are in a lot of different arenas. You've got your magazine, you do speaking, you do a lot of different stuff. And we'll get into all of that stuff. And I know that there's going to be a lot of value for our listeners in this conversation. Before we get into the conversation part of the show, I'd love for you to take a moment and share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure. I am Lea Woodford, and I am founder and CEO of SmartFem Media Group. What you may not know is we have one of the very first mobile magazines for the women on the go, smartfem.com. It is an all digital magazine. God, we have hundreds and hundreds of articles on there. It's been around for almost 12 years. So been doing that. But in my former life, I was a TV personality and a radio personality, and found myself with a rare form of skin cancer in 2011, which resulted in the entire removal of the right side of my face. And it was reconstructed, 5 surgeries, over 5 months, and just putting me back together again. But of course, when that happened, I lost my career, my husband, my income, my identity. Your face is such a personal thing. I mean, I know a lot of women, and I don't want to diminish breast cancer survivors, but at least people don't see it. So I really had to figure out what I was going to do, because I was on camera talent, and that was taken away. And I had made a promise to my daughter in 2009, a few years ago, prior to that I would use my contacts and my influence to create something that would educate, empower, and inspire women. And losing my job and my face, I figured I could hide behind the magazine, and that's exactly what I did. I put this magazine together, behind the scenes, online totally, back then. And it's been there ever since. And that was in 2011. Of course, technology has changed, the consumer's changed, and I'm still a print girl. I like print. So I just, in marketing, it's a moving target. The minute you figure it out, it changes again. So I have just gotten used to being uncomfortable and having to learn new skill sets.
So now you have overcome a tremendous amount of personal and professional adversities to get to where you are. Some of the things,
no idea.
some of the things that you have going on right now in your business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're inspiring people to really play a bigger game, to step up and up level. Now, I want to talk about, we'll go a little bit more into the magazine, because I think that's
well, that's visual, so you can actually see the transformation, mm-hmm. which is kind of cool.
Let's talk a little bit about the speaking side.
Okay.
Because you are a professional speaker.
Yes.
And you also help other speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of this, this work that you're doing is really helping people to get out there with their message, and you are getting out there with your message. So you're a trailblazer, right? You're showing how it's done from your perspective, both as the speaker and as the trainer and the coach, and someone who is helping to guide other people to get out there. How important do you think speaking is to growing your business?
I cannot think of a quicker way to amplify your voice and your expertise in front of many. I mean, I have gotten more clients from speaking engagements and strategic partnerships. I can't think of a better, quicker way to be known by many. You know, it's chasing the bunny farmer instead of the bunny. I would rather speak one to many versus the one-on-one. I mean, I'm 60 years old. It's going to take me forever to do the onesie twosie, you know, versus getting on a stage in front of hundreds of people, or even 100 people, 50 people, and boom, one message, and hopefully it'll land with several of them in the audience. It usually does, because I know my target demographic.
That's a really important point, because if you're speaking to the wrong group of people, no matter how amazing your talk is, it's sort of landing on deaf ears, and it's not really going to move the needle in your business.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, I think clarity is the biggest problem I see with most entrepreneurs and speakers. They aren't clear on who they are, who they serve, what problem they solve, and why people should hire them. If you can answer those questions succinctly, then you probably got the good start of a good business. But like the speaking business, it's a business, which means you have to have a business plan and a marketing strategy, just like any other business. Going gig to gig is a recipe for disaster. I mean, it's not sustainable. And unfortunately, the reason I started coaching this, because I had an amazing coach who taught me years ago that you have to create a sustainable business around it. And speaking, getting on the stage is only one part of it.
What about all of those people who are really stuck on the fear factor? So what is the statistic they say? People are more afraid of public speaking than they are of death.
Yes, you know, and that's true, but the only way to get over it is to actually do it. Feel your fear, embrace it, and just move through it. We just had a boot camp, and this lovely girl, the first day she was shaking, you know, her voice was shaking, her body was shaking. By the third time, you could just see the transformation. And it's a small group, and it's a safe group. I think the biggest thing is that you have to get them on the stage as soon as possible, because then it becomes tactile. They can feel it. You know, it's not as intimidating, and do it in front of a small group, a safe group, you know, where you're all learning. And she rocked it. I mean, she really surprised. I was so amazed. We had a couple of them that just blew us away because they were really struggling in that first day. And by the third day, you know, they had the clarity. And I really think clarity is what pushes you through everything. If you know who you are, if you know who you serve, and if you're certain and you have social proof that what you do can solve the problem for your target demographic, then you've got a really good business model. And then you can speak with certainty.
There's a couple of takeaways there. I want to just sort of highlight those real quick, because they're not just relevant in the speaking world, but just in business in general. So we're talking about getting really clear. You know, who are your people?
Yep.
And when you know that the work that you do makes a difference in people's lives, now you can speak with that level of confidence and conviction.
Absolutely.
And I do see, especially in newer businesses, and this is, cross industries, but definitely in some of those industries like coaching, where people kind of come in, they have a general certification. There's sort of a generalist. And we know that there is a fair amount of competition, if you want to call it that, right, in certain industries. And people come in and they don't have a lot of experience. They don't have a track record. They don't necessarily have clarity on who their ideal client is or who they love to serve. And they're sort of just fishing around and kind of coming at it from that generalist perspective, and it doesn't gain traction. And then you don't build that depth of confidence. So really starting with some of these basic fundamentals, and just like you would say to any new business owner, you start with the first one, the first client, the first customer. And I love what you're sharing here. When you want to embrace speaking and make it a part of your business, start small. Start to develop the confidence, the competency, the skill set. And I think a lot of people, because I understand how the mind works, the mind is jumping right to, standing on stage in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And that's probably not going to be your starting point.
No, it shouldn't be your starting point. And I'm just going to say a lot of people compare themselves. We all do. We all compare ourselves. You got to embrace the initial suck. I mean, you're going to suck. It's just like when you learn to walk. I mean, you didn't walk from day one. You fell down a few times. You got back up. You got to embrace the suck, and then you've got to be committed to doing better. A lot of people, oh my God, this is painful, and they just never get back up. The thing is, you get up and then you hire somebody and you just get better. If you don't have the skill set, hire somebody, hire a coach or a strategist to help you get better. But nobody starts out of the gate, perfect. And nobody wants to work with Polly perfect. If people show you that they don't admit their humble beginnings, then I say run. They're not real. I believe, and I know 100% that self-made doesn't exist, that everybody has somebody that helps them.
I've had these conversations with obviously my clients, but also my 12-year-old son. Mm-hmm. This is a big mindset hurdle for a lot of people. They want to be good right out of the gate.
Well, we all want to, but let me show you what I mean. And if it hurts, that can be a good thing. I'll show you what I mean. Visuals are good. When I first did my magazines, I had two celebrities that I put on the cover. One of them was Erin Brockovich. This one here. Look at this magazine. It kind of sucks. I mean, this is the one that I just did for Alice Cooper. Completely different. I was in the grocery store one day, and actually I have been working with Alice Cooper for years, and I actually had a picture of him for one of for our In-Flight magazine of him and Johnny Depp, but it looked like this. And they said, oh, we'll think about it. And then they saw my magazines get better. And now I just created it for their nonprofit. That was my way of giving back, because he's been the best business mentor you could ever have. I mean, who gets business advice from a rock star? But I do. And he's been a mentor to me since 2012. And he's told me some amazing things. One of the things was you can't be a star in your own backyard, meaning don't just stay local, build your base. And if you're not good at something, get good at something.
I love that.
Don't write a good riff, write a good song. That's a direct quote.
You heard it here, folks,
Yes.
right from Alice Cooper.
Yes, and it's on my TV, Amazon Prime TV show interview. And that's the problem with most people. They want to write a good riff instead of writing a good song. And the same thing with speaking. They want to just get the stage time, but they don't want to invest the time and the craft to get really good at it. So not only do they get booked, but they get rebooked and they're referred. And the thing is, you want to be the best and easiest speaker to work with. If you're a diva, I don't want to work with you. I mean, I'm an event planner. I hire corporate speakers and I have them on my stage. And then, if they're all that in a bag of chips and they're difficult to work with, I don't want to work with them. I want a speaker that knows who they are, who they serve, and they're going to serve my audience, and they're effortless to work with, because I have got a million things going on and I don't want to have to worry about having to serve their ego.
More good takeaways. This really kind of comes back around to how we started this episode. It's about up-leveling. It's about continuously stepping up, playing a bigger game. You could have been content with your original magazine
No, I couldn't.
design.
It's too painful.
Well, some people are. A
Yeah.
lot of people are. But if you really want to serve people in a bigger way, you've got to step up and you've got to embody that mindset. You've got to embody that energy.
It's true. And if you're not willing to invest in yourself, how can you ask anybody else to? I mean, really, people hire you for your expertise, but where did you get that expertise? And are the people that you hang with and the people that mentor you, I just think that there are some people that they just want to get it off their plate, do it, but they're not willing to go the extra mile to do the extra hurdle. If it's painful, it's probably good for you. When I went back to film school, because I was in front of the camera for years, but in 2014, after all my surgeries and everything, I went back to film school. I was the oldest and slowest in the class. I'm in a class full of 18 and 22-year-olds. There were 22 of us started, 8 of us graduated, and 2 of us could monetize. And trust me, I had to embrace the suck every day. And even though I may not edit all my videos and stuff, that skill set, now I understand lighting. It's worked out in my magazines. It's my events that has served me. And when I do video, because I do video, I can get what I want because I've been behind the camera and I know the techniques. You can't direct somebody to do something if you really haven't done it yourself. So, and technology had changed so much since I was on camera. That was the other thing.
So for those who are listening to this conversation, who are maybe at a place where they know they want to step up their game, and in all honesty, they're probably not going to be listening to this series if they're not growth minded, if they don't understand that there is always more work to do, both the inner work and the outer work. So for someone who's listening, who knows that they want to maybe take on speaking, or they want to, up level their skill set, what advice do you have? Now, when it comes to speaking,
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are at all different levels of skill and proficiency and speaking on different types of stages. So some people are virtual, some people are in person. when someone comes into your world,
Mhm.
what does that look like? So are you helping them to create their signature talk? Are you helping them to get that level of clarity on who their people
Yes,
are
it,
and
it,
where
it all
they?
starts, yes to all of that. It's basically speaker biz in a box. We start, first of all, the very first day. It's a 3-day intensive boot camp. You're on the stage. And we actually start with your 30-second elevator pitch first, because you're going to be using that day in, day out. And we also find that a lot of people, especially in health and wellness, use a lot of words that don't serve them. For instance, if you say, I help people, okay, from a marketing standpoint, you help people, so you're very philanthropic, so people don't hire you. So, like, for instance, what I say, that speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs hire me to help them amplify their voice through beautiful lead generating digital and print magazines that also create multiple income streams and unusual and multiple opportunities. I mean, I make it up, but I have it. I know what I do. I know who I serve. Speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs hire me. So I think they have to really kind of master their language. And then once we get them up on the stage and we work with them and coach them on that, then we have them start with their signature opening, because the first 3 minutes on the stage are the scariest part. So if you have that, then you can get comfortable, because that's the hardest part. And if you know that part, you know who you are, you know who you serve, and you know your message, then you start to feel the audience and you start to connect with the audience. Then we teach them the marketing, because it's a business. We provide them with all the contracts they're going to need. We show them everything. We have headshots. They get media training. They actually get media footage. I do on-camera TV interview with them, and we do professional headshots and stage shots. They get all of that, and they got it all back within a week of attending the conference. And I've been told nobody ever does that. Well, I have a team of professionals that, we can do it pretty fast, but it has to be intensive, and people have to really want it. And we keep it to small groups so that there's a lot of coaching. It's not just how to give that signature talk, it's how to make it a sustainable speaking business.
I love that. That is demonstrating what we've been talking about here. Don't just be average, right? Go the extra mile. You do that for your clients. And when people go through this process of really mastering some of these fundamentals that are essential if you're going to utilize speaking as a legitimate marketing tool in your business, do it right. Don't just half-ass it.
I think you just nailed it right there. A lot of people are coasting and half-assing it. And when you do that, you're always going to have that bottom tier client. The clients that pay the least are the biggest pain in the butts anyway. The people that spend a lot of money, they never really, because you're up here, you never have those kind of issues.
There's a lot of truth to that. If someone has gone through this personally, that totally resonates with them. They absolutely get it. They're like, oh, I remember those. I remember those cheap clients versus the premium level clients when I upped to being more of a high level service provider. For someone who is still maybe charging those lower rates or providing products and services that are at more of that entry level sort of mass marketing scale, they are probably in the midst of bumping up against those challenges. The people who are the biggest complainers, they want the most for the least.
they're going to beat you up on pricing. They're going to ask for discounts on everything. I would rather have 10 clients at 10,000 than making $100,099 at a time. You know,
Right.
it's easier to get 10 than it is to get 99. And the people that can throw down $10,000, I'm just making that number up, they're used to throwing that kind of money down. But you have to be at that level to get them. And if you're not at that level, then you need to get it to that level. And for people that are just starting, I would say get test clients first, get social proof, because until you have social proof, you have nothing. You're selling air, and people want to buy, but they don't want to be sold, because we've all been sold that bill of goods. You know, people over promise and under deliver. We over promise and then we really, really over deliver. I mean, a lot of people didn't even know that they were going to get all the stuff that they got. But we like the wow factor, because we got great testimonials, and we just had it, and we've already filled up our October. We've already had 4 people sign up for our October class. So if you give more than people expect, you're always going to have good clients. You know, that isn't to say you won't get that one pain in the ass client, because we all have them, but they're fewer and far between. But if you stay in that $99 range, you're going to be overworked, you're going to be stressed out, and you're going to have a lot of bitchy clients.
Let's shift gears just a little bit. And I want to talk to you as the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had to overcome a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love for you to share one mindset obstacle that you personally had to overcome in order to get to where you are today.
Well, I think I mentioned embracing the suck. You know, stop comparing your humble beginnings to somebody's last chapter. But the other thing is, you don't have to be the best or the brightest. You just have to be the most persistent. You can't win if you quit.
Very, very true. A lot of people give up way too soon. Mm-hmm. They get very, very discouraged. In fact, in my Inner Game Academy, those are some of the mindset issues that are most frequently worked through, because aspiring entrepreneurs, growing entrepreneurs are all bumping up against the internal and external challenges that come along with this journey of being a business owner. And the people who are falling into those statistics, the failure statistics, which are extremely high, a lot of people are just simply not breaking through to financial sustainability in their business. And
yeah,
a lot of people start and a lot of people quit.
Well, the average speaker opts out after the 3rd year because they can't make a living at it. And that's because they have not really, you know, if you want it bad enough, you'll get it. You will find a way. But you got to want it. And I think the best way to say it is your why has to be bigger than your excuse.
I like to talk about how when you get really, really, really clear on what your why is, and it's almost so cliche because it's talked about so much. Oh, the why, the why, the why. But no, really, like if you really know what it is, that is your absolute underlying motivator, whether it's your kids or it is this passion that you have that's burning so strongly inside of you, when you start to lock into that, you click into that, you are so incredibly clear on that. That becomes like your life raft. So you're floating out in that ocean, and there's a lot of turbulence, and it can be really, really challenging. And if you don't have that to kind of keep you afloat through the challenges, through the resistance, through the adversity, it's very easy to allow your mind to make the excuses for why it's better to quit. It's better to retreat. It's better to, give up. So I think that right there is something that, even if you've identified your why, it's worth revisiting. It's worth reminding.
And it changes after time. I mean, initially my why was a promise I made to my daughter in 2009. And I did want to see the glass ceiling gone for women, but now I'm in a different arena. My daughter's married, has her first baby, and she's doing, all of my kids are doing well, but now I realize that there are a lot of really awful coaches out there that not only are not qualified, but they give harmful information. So I would rather show them the possibility, if they will invest in themselves, of what's possible. And I think a lot of people don't understand goals. Goal setting is really important. For me, financial goals are so abstract, though. I mean, I prefer lifestyle goals, because they're tangible for me. Money has never been a motivator for me. Yes, I like it. I like the stuff that I can buy with it, but it's just not my motivator. Having a second home in Colorado, having the car that I want to drive, having Lexus as a client for 12 years and getting the cars that I want has been great, but I work for that. Lifestyle goals are easier for me to obtain and maintain because they're not abstract.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation we could probably segue off into, because it's so important to understand how each individual's mind works and what resonates for you, what works for you. And that is a problem with a one size fits all approach. There is really no such thing. We're all unique. We're all different. And you've really got to start to lock into, what are your motivators? What are your drivers? What makes your heart happy? What gives you the inner momentum to keep charging forward, to create that business, that empire, that life that you absolutely love?
I think you kind of also have to ask, what kind of business owner are you? I'm not a coach. I'm a consultant, because everything I do is very project based. I really love visuals, so I like to see something start to finish. And I don't want it ongoing, because I'm a creative. I got to be doing something new. And I know that about me. But I think a lot of people have to get really clear, are you a creative, or are you somebody that just really loves coaching? I want to get you results and then, put you on your merry way. Whether it's we're creating a magazine together, or I'm creating your speaker business. It's like decorating a house. I love because you get to see the tangibility, and the tangibility is something I cannot do a business where I don't have something tangible. That's something I know about me as a creative.
So Lea, how can our listeners connect with you? What's the best way to learn more about either or both aspects of your business?
Say just hit me up on social media. My name is spelled Lea, no H, Woodford, and I'm on I'm even on TikTok. I don't do a lot on TikTok because I'm just learning it, I'm embracing the suck on TikTok right now. But hit me up on social media. I have a SmartFem entrepreneur group on Facebook, and that's probably the best place. That's where I spend most of my time because that's where my clients are.
Love it. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. There's a lot that we could talk about for sure. I'm grateful, though, that we were able to weave in some really valuable nuggets for the audience today.
Well, it is about them, right?
It is absolutely 100% about them. And with that, I want to thank our listeners. We are doing this for you. If you have not already subscribed, please make sure you do so. And until next time, we will see you in the next episode.